One ball, two strikes. Davis comes to the plate. Strike three call. It's over. They've done it. The Royals are World Series champions.
Hello. I bet you're wondering why I just showed you a clip from the 2015 World Series. That reason is the team, the Kansas City Royals, had just won the World Series for the first time since 1985. In that 30-year gap, Royals fans experienced a lot of up and downness, but mostly a lot of down years, in which they experienced 9 90-loss seasons and 4 100-loss seasons. Why care about a small market Major League Baseball team? As I said in my very question, the Royals, along with many other MLB teams, have to compete financially with big market teams, such as the New York Yankees or the Boston Red Sox or Los Angeles Dodgers. These teams, unlike the Royals or the Oakland Athletics, can't afford to pay big-time players, which is problematic. In doing so, if you can't afford to pay the players, you're stuck just scrapping together a team to play in the world's best baseball league. And in doing so, you have an imbalance. As Billy Beane said it best in Moneyball,
there are rich teams and there are poor teams. Then there's 50 feet of crap. And then there's us.
One of these reasons for the financial imbalance in Major League Baseball is the fact that the MLB is the only professional sport in America with no salary cap. A salary cap would place a firm budget for every team in the league in regards to how much money they could spend on player payroll. This could potentially bring about a financial and competitive balance. However, this is a very tricky subject, as there are two very strong opinions on either side of the debate for having a salary cap or not having a salary cap. There are some rules to attempt to keep the MLB competitively balanced. In 2003, the MLB rolled out a new policy called the Competitive Balance Tax, or CBT, less formally known as the luxury tax. This is a budget given to each team to pay for its players. If a team exceeds this budget, they pay a fine at the end of the season, which is a certain percentage of the amount the team owed. Each year, a team pays the CBT, the higher the percentage they pay. The latest payroll limit in 2018, $237 million. The CBT theoretically is supposed to keep the rich teams spending with the poorer teams spending equal. Obviously, what does that do? That lessens payroll or salaries. That lessens the salaries that the players can get. Less money. They don't think they deserve that. According to analyst John Taylor, it's not a big deal to some teams in the MLB, especially teams like the New York Yankees or the Boston Red Sox or Los Angeles Dodgers. They can go over the fine no problem. For example, the New York Yankees have paid $341 million in fines since 2003 on the luxury tax alone. The ultimate example, especially for the Boston Red Sox as of late, they won the World Series in 2018. In doing so, they went a couple $1 million over the payroll limit, the CBT. They had to pay $12 million in fines. Big deal for them because they won the World Series and they alone made that $12 million in October. However, for some other owners, they are seemingly doing the opposite of not worrying about the CBT limit or going overboard and having to spend more money. Teams aren't spending money on contracts for players in order to stay under the penalty. And fans don't necessarily like this because when owners spend less on their team, they are not necessarily going to be the best team in the league or be more competitive. And it's not fun watching your team be unsuccessful or less successful. But the strategy of what some refer to as tanking has worked for some MLB owners recently. Teams like the Houston Astros and Chicago Cubs, who both won the World Series recently, went from being good teams, took a dip down in their payrolls, and came back and won the World Series. It's worth it for them. MLB players aren't getting to pay the way they want to when teams are using strategies such as the tanking or at least just staying under the CBT. Because when owners are close to that CBT line, they're less likely to spend more money on players. Why does this matter to the average MLB fan like you and me, though? For the average fan who wants to flip on the game, they're not going to want to watch their local team just getting destroyed. And however, I can't give a good example, though, on how to make the MLB more competitively balanced or financially balanced. I saw that there were only a couple players in the 2018-19 offseason who signed deals. And those that did signed humongous deals, like Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, Manny Machado. However, there are many other very good free agents who didn't get paid at all. They're sitting on the sidelines right now. It baffles me. The players don't need to be paid humongous deals in order to play baseball. But if we want to keep fans coming to the game, we need to make a way to keep Major League Baseball competitively balanced while the players get their money and the owners get their money. And the CBT just isn't doing it for either side. And both sides admit they want the CBT to be changed. And they will actually be meeting in 2021 to discuss the competitive balance tax, which will expire then. With that, all this said, I gave you no complete answer. However, it's just food for thought.